Cowboys. Let's start with the NCAA. They have named their next president. Mark Emmert is on his way out, which I think a lot of people might celebrate. Charlie Baker, governor of Massachusetts, will serve as the next NCAA president effective March of the upcoming year.
Yeah, it's an interesting choice. Charlie Baker is a Republican governor from the state of Kennedy, a very Democratic state, and has at least a reputation in that state of being able to negotiate and get things done, avoiding a lot of the gridlock we see other places. So I don't know if that is true or political legend, but we'll see in the future. It's outside the walls of academia, which I think is a good choice, especially given the fact that so much of the stuff going on with college athletics now needs someone with maybe government experience and has someone who can maybe open the doors to get legislation moving forward, meaningful legislation to guardrail all the things like NIL and all that are going on, so that there are rules that are the same across all 50 states and not different rules and different things, and thus making it more complicated. I think it'll be interesting to see how he does. Linda Livingstone was on the committee, and I guess she'll be with us tomorrow.
She'll be with us tomorrow right off the top of the show at 3 o'clock, just after 3 o'clock. I think the best news of this is that Mark Emmert is leaving. We kind of knew that. And, Craig, there's now a new voice at the top. The Transformational Committee, of course, has a lot of clout as well. But Charlie Baker now takes over in March.
First of all, did you say the state of Kennedy?
Yeah.
State of Kennedy.
Massachusetts.
Okay.
Where the family is like.
Right, but the state of Kennedy, when we started calling it that?
I did that.
Okay,
like Kennedy, the Kennedy blood still runs through that.
Okay, I've never ever in my life heard it referred to the state of Kennedy, so that's why I was caught off guard by that. Okay, yeah, I just thought you misspoke. I was like, all right, but yeah, Massachusetts. I was like, okay, it's cool, I guess, that there's this decision that's now been made. I mean, I don't know what it really results in, though. We have to wait and see what this actually turns into before getting too high or too, down in the dumps about, the next NCAA evolution. There's obviously a bad taste in most people's mouths when it comes to just even the phrase NCAA being thrown out. They've not really created a lot of goodwill in the last several years, and I don't think people really trust that organization or that entity to really do what's best overall, or really, I guess, have any confidence that they have the ability to do what people feel they need to do at this point, because they did have the power at one point in time.
They had all the power.
Thought that they could just sit on that for life, and no matter how many times people came to them and said, hey, you better do something about this or it's going to hurt you. You better do something about this or you're going to get lost in the shuffle. You better do something about this or it's going to wash away some of your power. You better do something about this. I mean, no matter how many warnings they got, they just sat there fat and happy like nothing was ever going to come home to roost. And then everything came home to roost pretty much in like a few years' time. And they were just sitting there left with no answers to anything. And now they're basically scrambling in so many ways. And I don't really know what authority or what kind of pull they're going to have in the future. I mean, obviously, this is a statement being made in terms of going the governor route, like Paul referred to, getting somebody a bit different than we've seen. But, ultimately, outside of running the tournament and being involved in that, as we know that they will be, what is their pull in the college sports conversation? Like, what were we talking about them and why? And, what kind of power do they have moving forward? I don't know. I feel like that's kind of in the dark a little bit. So there's a lot on the plate of, Baker and all the people like Livingstone that will be working alongside him and with him. But, that's a big hire out of the way now. So that's one less thing to do. And now they can hopefully turn their focus on, the subjects that are really pertaining the most to college athletics right now.
Well, they're doing that with the Transformational Committee, or trying to look at things. And Dr. Livingstone of Baylor, who is the one that led this search committee for the new president, she will join us tomorrow at about this time.
Yeah, and I think that it would be wise for Mark Emmert to ride off into the sunset very quietly. I have a sneaking suspicion that they're going to try to do something like, look at all that's changed under this tenure. No, nothing happened because of Mark Emmert and the NCAA. A bunch of stuff happened to it.
Great point. You know what? Bob Bowlesby, and when they announced that he was stepping down and that your Mark was introduced, you never heard from him again.
Yeah.
That's what Mark Emmert needs to do.
Yeah, because everything that's happened, everything that's changed, from the O'Bannon lawsuit to Alford that opens the door for NIL to the transfer portal to anything that's going on right now in college athletics to the 12-team playoff in football. All of those things didn't happen because of him or because of the leadership or because of the direction of that organization. It happened to them because they had no idea what to do anything. And, pretty much in the offices right now, they organize a basketball tournament and send out emails about like, hey, can you guys tell us, what you're finding out in enforcement on NIL so we can, write a memo about a new rule that, was also going to get broken. I mean, that's what they do. And, the transformational committee has a long way to go, and Governor Baker is going to have a really, really tough job ahead of him.
All right, so that's one story.